I'm Jen, and today I'm going to show you how I make my sausage lentil soup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chop up our vegetables. So we have onion, celery, which is in here, and carrots. So we're going to start by cutting up the onions, and this is just a regular white onion. You could use pretty much any type of onion though, Vidalia or yellow onion. But I like to cut up my onions pretty small because the smaller they are, the less likely they are to get picked out by little fingers who don't think they like onions. And I also added some garlic. I, for some reason, had giant garlic cloves. So there were only 3 cloves of garlic. I am of the mentality that more garlic is always better, so kind of throw in whatever you like. Next, we've got some carrots. And I don't bother with peeling the carrots because they're going to get all cooked down anyway, but if you feel so inclined, go ahead and peel them. And again, I'm cutting them small. I like everything to be really uniform in size, and the lentils are pretty small, so I'm trying to cut them around lentil size. Next up, we have the celery. It's probably the equivalent of 3 or 4 ribs of celery. I had them all chopped up pretty small so that the kids would have some food for snacks. And I'm cutting up some leaves as well. The leaves taste really good in it, so no need to throw those away. So now that all the vegetables are cut up, I'm just going to start sauteing them in a pot, the one that I'm going to use. I like using my Lodge one. It is cast iron and it's enamel coated because I can cook it on the stove, and then I can just throw it right in the oven and let it cook for a long time in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up and add some avocado oil. So I like to use avocado oil. It has a higher smoke point than butter or olive oil. Olive oil is great. I use it all the time. But once you cook it, a lot of those really good nutrients start to break down, so you don't get as much of the nutrients in them. Avocado oil is not the same. It will stay good at a higher temperature. So to the pot, I'm just going to add the veggies and give it a quick stir. And I needed to add a teeny bit more avocado oil and some salt and a few grinds of black pepper. Okay, so while the vegetables are sauteing and softening up a little bit, I have 1 piece of a kielbasa. So you can use whatever type of sausage you want. I just think a smoky sausage adds good flavor. You could use an Italian sausage. I really like that. I just didn't have some this time. So I'm just going to cut my sausage up, and it's already cooked, so you don't have to cook it ahead of time. This is an organic beef sausage, and it's grass-fed. I got it from Costco, and the brand was kielbasa, so it sounds like kielbasa, but it was spelled differently, so I don't know if it's a family name, but it was really, really good. So it's just a smoked beef sausage. You could use some sort of Cajun sausage, but again, I think Italian sausage is really good. So while I'm cutting this up, we don't have very many ingredients left. We just have the stock, and we have lentils. So for stock, I'm using chicken stock. I almost always have chicken stock on hand. I make my own bone broth out of when I roasted chicken. I save the bones and I roast it, and then I make my own bone broth, which is so good for you. When it is chilled, it's got a lot of gelatin in it, which is really, really good for you. So I use bone broth. Okay, so I wanted to talk a minute about beans and the lentils that I'm using. Anytime I use lentils or beans, I always get them dried when possible, and then I soak them overnight with either a little bit of apple cider vinegar or some lemon juice. And what that does is it breaks down the phytic acid that's in the beans, which makes it much easier for your stomach or your body to digest. So everybody knows what they say when they say about beans. That doesn't happen if you soak the beans overnight. Your body's able to digest them. On top of that, there's a ton of nutrients in beans, and your body's able to get those nutrients better when you soak them overnight. So I soaked my beans overnight. It's probably about 2 cups. It's just half a pack of lentils. So my vegetables are nice and soft now, and then my sausage is cut up, and then I have my lentils, and I have my bone broth. So all I'm going to do is just throw it all in the pot. So to the vegetables that I've had sauteing, I'm just going to add the sausage, give it a quick stir. Then I forgot to tell you I was going to add a little bit of white wine because I had it and I figured why not use it. So it's just a splash of a white wine. And then I also put in a bay leaf. There you go. Give it a quick stir, and then in go the lentils, and again give it another quick stir. And last but not least, there's the chicken stock that I made. So it's about a quart of chicken stock. Give everything a good swirl around and then cover with the lid.
Now all the ingredients are in the pot and I've brought it to a boil and put the lid on it. Now at this point you can do a couple different things. You can leave it on the stove on low heat for a couple hours. If you want to have it faster, you can leave it on medium heat. Just make sure you keep checking it because some of the broth is going to absorb and you don't want to dry it out because then it's not going to be a soup. What I'm probably going to do is turn the oven on to low, probably about 200 degrees, pop it in there and just kind of go about my day for the next couple hours until it's ready, until I'm ready to have dinner. So I'm going to do that and then I'll come back and show you what I do at the end. We're pretty much done at this point. The only thing I do is I add in more salt and pepper at the end to make sure it's a good flavor. And then I also add in little bits of chopped up kale because I think a little bit of greens there is really good in there. So later on I'm going to add in a little bit of kale and it's going to wilt and just soak up all the flavors of the sausages and the beans and the garlic and the carrots and everything. So that's it for now and I'll come back later to finish off the soup. Okay, so it's been a couple hours and I just pulled the soup out of the oven. I threw it on top of the stove and I have it on low so it's simmering. All I'm going to do now is add in some kale. And this is optional, I just think it's good to get as many greens in as possible. So right here I just have some curly kale and I just ripped the stem out of it because it can get kind of hard and tough. And all you do is you just put tiny little pieces and you drop it in.
So I'm just going to tear up little bits of kale and toss it into the pot. And it looks like a lot of kale that I'm putting in there, but kale is really just like any other green. As soon as it cooks down, it's really going to shrink and you're barely even going to notice it in the soup. So I'm going to give it a couple stirs, make sure everything's incorporated, add a little bit of salt, and then put the lid on and let it continue to cook.
So that's it. That's my lentil sausage soup. It's super easy and it's perfect for a cold day or when it's a rainy day and you just want some warm comfort food. I serve mine with some homemade sourdough bread. I did biscuits the other day and those were really good too. And I think the recipe is pretty simple already, but you can make it even easier and you can modify it a little bit. If you want to, you can do it in an Instant Pot. You can saute everything on the saute feature. And then once you put the broth in, you can put the lid on and just have it slow cook for a few hours. I haven't tried it with the pressure cook setting, so I don't really know about that, but I'm sure you could look up some recipes and do something similar. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, you could probably do it in a slow cooker as well. You can saute everything on the stove, throw everything in the slow cooker and have it cook for a while. And honestly, you could probably just throw everything in the slow cooker at the same time, put the lid on and let it go. I personally like to have everything sauteed first. I think it just makes the flavors develop a little bit more and I'm all about depth of flavor. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the recipe and I will leave the recipe in the comments below. I don't have a blog post for it yet, but hopefully that will be coming. So, anyway, I hope you have a good day and thanks for stopping by.